Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Summon Update and Q&A session. As Scott mentioned, please send us any questions as we go through the presentation. My name is Brent Cook, and I'm here to review a variety of things related to Summon. We got a lot of good things to talk about today, including some highlights from some of the recent improvements that we've had with the Summon service since the beginning of the year. I'll talk a little bit about what's happening right now with the August release, as well as the rest of the roadmap for 2019. I'll do a brief update around 360 and Entoda around what will be in the August release for that. I'll give you a quick rundown of what's happening with the Central Discovery Index, or CDI, and I'll also give you some information on some upcoming webinars and other ways you can get engaged with the Summon community. So before we dive into the roadmap and reviewing some of the functionality that we have, I'd like to highlight the four pillars that we use in doing our planning around products here at Ex Libris. And so for discovery, we like to focus in on search and exploring, user experience, library empowerment, and open systems. Search and exploring is ensuring that there are features and functionality there that improve the algorithm so that it delivers the results that your users need, and provide the tools within that searching to allow you to discover the appropriate content. For user experience, that's providing the facets and the other elements within the user interface, such as Topic Explorer and the enhanced autocomplete, to make that experience rich and expansive, help people find the specific piece they're looking for, but also find things serendipitously, discover content they weren't expecting. For library empowerment, we want to make sure that you have the tools and the reporting that you need in order to be effective and efficient in your job. And then for open systems, particularly with the API and the Summon Developer Network, we want to make sure that our system is open and accessible so that you can do integration with other systems, or we can integrate with other software packages or services, including Ex Libris products, and ones that you may have installed within your system. We also, for open systems, want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to support the open access content community, and making sure that your users can find open access content when appropriate and available. So let's talk a little bit about some of the changes we've made in Summon since the beginning of the year. So this is the roadmap for 2019. We have a variety of items for each release coming out. We completed the February release on the 6th, and there were a variety of great features that came out of that. First, I'll talk a little bit about Citation Trail. If you haven't tried this out, please go to the preview environment and test it out. I want to remind you that the preview environment is available now 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's not highly available, so there may be some times when we're doing testing it may be unavailable for a few minutes. However, for the 2 weeks prior to the release, we update that environment with the most recent code base, and it will be available that full time. But at any time you want to go out and try some of this functionality, you can go in and access that preview environment. And for the citation trail, what that does is it allows a user to explore content related to a specific result. So if you see a link with the result, the cites or the cited by, as you can see on the first and second result here, if you click on that, that will show you articles and text that either cite that article or are cited within that article. Here you can see the result of that. Once you click on the cites or cited by, it opens a new tab, the cited by tab. That's where you'll be doing your viewing of the citation trail. If you want to go back to your search, it's very easy to click on that tab and go right back to it. As you're exploring, you have a breadcrumb trail that's being formed in the upper right-hand corner of that results set. You can see the "You're Here" pop up, as well as all the various articles that were explored before them. So this is a great way to go in and find things, explore, but not get lost, and be able to circle back to a piece of content that you thought was particularly important. I know from personal experience as a graduate student myself, there were a number of times I saw an article that I had a quotation in it, and what I really wanted was that article, not the one I was reading per se. So Citation Trail helps with situations like that. So I think it's a really great feature. Again, try it out in the preview environment if you haven't already. We also released in February some improvements around topics. One big piece was to add Oxford University Press as a source for encyclopedia entries for Topic Explorer. We also did some work on making it so that you could easily configure Topic Explorer and make changes to that. I'll just show you a quick example of that right here. If you go into the Summon Admin Console, that's this section that we're looking at right here on the screen, you can now enable or disable any of the resources that you'd like. So if you wanted to, for example, maybe take a Wikipedia and disable that, you just drag that over to the right-hand side. You can also enable or disable any of the various elements within Topic Explorer, such as the encyclopedia entry, suggested librarian, related topic, and recommended research guide. You can change the order, or again, you can drag things back and forth from enabled or disabled. So those are just a few of the bits of functionality that we added as part of Topics in the first quarter of this year. And we will continue to do that work, as I'll talk about later in the presentation. We also added some functionality to the service page for Summon Over Alma customers. Now author and subjects on the service page are hyperlinks that will execute a search into Summon if you click on those. We also added the ability to publish collection level URLs with electronic holdings. So then we had a lot of good functionality that came out in the May release. We've completed both February and May release this year. Glanceability, this is the first of many changes we'd like to see to this result. Each individual result, as we have evolved over the years, we've added more and more information to this result so that a user can easily take a look and figure out if this meets their needs. With as much information, it helps to organize that information and provide some iconography. For this particular feature, we added the ability to highlight review research or original research, as you can see from the graphic here in the screen, on the screen, and the link to the article as well. In May, we also added related items. So that's the ability to associate book reviews and chapters with a specific book. As you can see here, this result at the top of the results set has a review and chapter link that appears with it. If there are available reviews or chapters, this will show up, and then you click on it. It exposes this right-hand side where you have either book reviews or chapters available. If only book reviews or chapters are available, then that will show up without a tab. But if both are available, then you'll have the tab and be able to easily switch back and forth between the two and review any content related with that item. And this is the first in a variety of related items that we will do. With a lot of these features, such as glanceability, citation trail, related items, we expect to do more and build on these features as we move forward. We also in June had some Summon Over Alma improvements. In some instances, duplicate links will show up if there's a catalog e-inventory available and that merges with a provider record. We've made it so you can suppress that duplicate link. We've also added some customization to course reserves. You now have the ability to disable or enable columns in the course reserve view. And that's for Summon Over Alma customers. So let's take a look at the second half of the year, which we're well into now at the end of July. Again, we've completed those first two releases. We're halfway through deploying that August release. That's why it's got a slightly faded check on top of it. We're almost done. Next Wednesday, August 7th, is when it will go live into production. Right now, you can go out into the preview environment and test out these various features that we have included in this release. One of the biggest came as part of the new enhancement request system, or the NERS voting system. Complements of Igloo and Eluna. This is the ability to completely customize the facets to meet your needs, change the look and feel of the facets, change the order of the facets, determine which are included and which are collapsed or expanded by default. So again, just take a moment to show you what that looks like. If you want to make those changes, again, you need to be in the preview environment. That's the only place where it's available right now. It will go into production next Wednesday. You can tell the preview editor by that red text at the top. And again, you can always, in the upper right hand side, you can click in your regular environment to get to that preview editor. Facets, if you go to that under settings, that's where you'll be able to do things like determine which of the facets are enabled and which ones are disabled. I have content type enabled here, for example, and course name and number is disabled. You also have the ability to, at the bottom here, mark something as expanded or collapsed simply by dragging that from one spot to the other. And then make sure, as always, you have the Save button here at the bottom to save those changes. In addition, you can change that background color. So this is found in a different area. We have all of the customizations for color under Summon 2.0 customization. It's on, again, that settings page. The first page you get to when you go to the editor, just click on that. And at the bottom, you have right here facet pane color, where you can enter that in. And I'll show you a little before and after here too. So here's the Summon site. I did a search on Mantis Shrimp, and here's how the facets look right now. As you can see, if something's collapsed, it just has the word and no other indication, and the background is gray there. I went into the preview environment though, and I played with it a little bit. And in addition to changing the background to this nice lavender color to match the purple of Summon at the top, you also can see now these arrows that indicate if something is expanded or collapsed that will hopefully help users understand that there is more information underneath those headings. And again, you have the capacity now to select that and either have it start as expanded or collapsed and adjust the order as well. And that again can all be done under the facet section under settings, or for the color change you do need to go to the Summon customization section under Summon 2.0 customization and change that facet panel color right there. Public Notes as well is a feature that's come from the new enhancement request system from NERS. It's the ability to expose information related to resources that you already entered in many cases into the system. This gives you the ability to display database notes, database all title notes, title level notes, and title location notes. And there are 2 toggles within the system, so you can turn on the database notes, database title notes, and the title level notes, or location notes. And again, to take a look at what that might look like in your instance of Summon, go look here. Down at the bottom, it's in the preview pane. You go down to the bottom, right there it will display permitted use. You click on that and that will take you to the note that provides you with the information that you would like your patrons to see. We also did some integration with Leganto. If you are using the Leganto course reading list solution, you now have access to searches within Summon. Within Leganto, you can now search directly into Summon, find the resource that you'd like, and add that to your reading list. In addition, we've added open access reporting to OBI right now. This shows the number of times that someone has applied the open access facet. This has been live since for a few weeks now. So if you go out, and this is visible in both the preview environment and in the regular environment, and the reporting is purely off of data from the regular environment, by the way, the production environment. So if you go into your facet usage report, which is part of the dashboard right now, you'll see now down here is open access. You can easily see how many times someone has clicked on is open access in order to activate that. Okay, and those are the main items that are available for the August release. Again, we've completed the first 2 and we're in the process of finishing up that August release, and we're starting on the November release. One of the first things you'll see is IEDL reporting. That will help you determine what content is being used from Summon. That will report on the click path from Summon results to the content. This will actually go live in September. And again, it will show you by publisher, by database, where the click's going, and that will aggregate on what's the content source that people are using. So you'll be able to view that within OBI. In November, we're also doing some work on linked data. I always like to comment on this one and say that the biggest piece for linked data for this release will be making those connections in the background and making sure that we have the infrastructure in place in order to link the data and use it in an appropriate way. The initial feature that you'll see come out as part of this is a sitemap to improve indexing via search engines. While it doesn't guarantee a top spot of a result in a search engine because they have their own relevance algorithm, it does make it easier for sites such as Google to crawl your content and display that as part of the result set. And as we know, as much as we would like for our patrons to come to the library to begin with, some start off in search engines such as Google, and so it's a great way to make sure your content is there and visible to them and ultimately get them back into that library site. We also plan on adding some video improvements. At the beginning of the year, we made some changes on the back end, so you can now go in and activate video content and be able to select specific packages or providers for video. So in November, we will be taking advantage of some of that, some of those rights granularity improvements, as well as overall video metadata improvements, and we will do a better job of presenting them in the user interface. We'll expose the data and create facets where appropriate, and we will add thumbnails for display as well. We're also doing some work on Topic Explorer in November as well. For this one, we're taking a look at how we do matching as well as how we update the content from various sources such as Wikipedia, and we are working to improve the matching, improve the number of topics that match and the accuracy of those matches, as well as improving the update times for content within Topic Explorer. So next I want to go over a little bit about what's happening with 316 and TOTA for the August release. So next week we'll have coming out a variety of fixes and changes. The first thing we did was fix a long-standing issue that prevented output coverage dates fields from displaying custom coverage dates. That now works. We streamlined database configuration process to allow for customizations. So as soon as you change the status, without first having to save and then re-edit the database. So that should make your workflow a lot easier. We resolved an issue causing some databases to show a blank status in the tracked resources report. We also fixed an issue that failed to add the proxy prefix to URLs in the tracked resources report. And video is now a content type that can be added to a library-specific holdings database. And this is all in addition to the prep work that we're doing right now on Counter R5 infrastructure for the rollout in Q4 as well. So now let's talk a little bit about the CDI, or Central Discovery Index. Hopefully you've had time to attend one of our many webinars talking about the Central Discovery Index, or CDI. For those who may not be as familiar with it, I just want to take a moment to tell you what it is. It is a future-ready centralized index. It will unify the indexes of Primo and Summon. It will also include improvements for building more data intelligence features. So we will include things like a graph data space to create those relationships. What this means for you is faster ingestion, faster updates, better quality of data overall, and a better infrastructure that we've built this database and this index on. Overall, what it will do is it will mean that we'll be able to do a lot more of those smart services based on contextual relationships, like the citation trail, BX recommender, related items, and other types of features like that that we already have built in. We'll be able to expand on them and offer new features that help with both contextual researching or searching and glanceability. So for you as a Summon user, what you need to know is that we are on track for an upgrade to this in Q4 of this year. We expect the transition to happen in November. The transition should be seamless. There's not changes to the user interface. There are no changes to the API. This upgrade should be the equivalent of a monthly maintenance release. So you should just wake up the next day, be on the new CDI, and not have any disruptions in your service whatsoever. Next, I want to talk a little bit about upcoming webinars and some of the ways that you can participate in the Summon community. In September and next month, we've got a webinar called The Match and Merge Story, Improving Search Results and Reducing User Confusion. The match and the merged record, the logical record as we call it, will be a part of CDI, or the Central Discovery Index. This is the same type of merged record that you have had with Summon all along. It gives you much richer metadata by pulling from all the various sources where you get metadata, and a variety of enrichment that happens there. If you're curious about the details, it's been a while since we've done one of these, so please come and attend. There will be a variety of times you can attend. For North America and the Asia Pacific area, we try to schedule one for September 11th at 4 o'clock in the afternoon San Francisco time, 9 in the morning Sydney, and 8 in the morning for Tokyo. For North America and the Europe, Middle East area, there will be one at September 12th. That's at 9 a.m. Chicago time or 4 p.m. Paris time. So hopefully that will cover everyone in Europe and parts of the Americas. And then finally, we'll have ones solidly for the North America and South America crowd on September 12th at 11 a.m. San Francisco time or 2 p.m. New York time. So hopefully you can attend one of those. In addition, Igloo and Aluna, we're working with them to create a variety of webinars coming up. Those will be customer-led webinars, 30-minute show and tells, basically with 3 different libraries taking 10 minutes each to talk about a specific topic. We will determine the specific dates once we have the presenters lined up and their availability. If you would like to participate in one of these, there is a URL at the bottom of this slide that shows you where you can go and submit ideas for inclusion in one of these topics. The 3 topics that we have are Analytics and Summon. That'll be the first one coming out in October. We'll also do one on the Summon interface configuration. What have you done to customize or improve the Summon user interface? That will be in November 2019. And then in February of next year, Summon integration and interoperability with other products will be the topic as well. So if you would like to participate, that responses are due by August 21st. Please follow that link at the bottom. And that was posted recently on the listserv as well, if you want to find it there. And finally, this is all leading up to a virtual development day. And the topic of that will be the Summon API. We want to bring together Summon customers, people like you who are doing development against the API for your entire site, or maybe just for specific applications or integrations within Binno boxes and things like that. So it's bringing customers together who are doing that kind of work, customers who are interested in doing that kind of work, ex-Libris developers, and sharing best practices and working through specific issues that you'd like to learn more about with the Summon API. It will be a great way to learn from your community members as well as to have access to ex-Libris developers to answer your questions. And that brings me to the end of our prepared slides.